it's pushing up, you see. We'll have to see how it reacts to this resistance. Maybe it just does not want to pull back. I mean, the only candle that started to create support, this 5-minute candle. But I don't think that's a good shout. Oh, it's moving up already.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's right though. We literally came to the charts and you can't take a buy like there, so there's no worries about this day. To be honest, like, there could be a number of things that we can like wait for, you know. Even if you see it move up, let's say all the way over to here, it may reach that 4-hour level, pull back, and then give us an opportunity to retest that. Because if we're already here, you know, we've already done this, so we'll have to, yeah, I mean, but we also need to pay attention to potential rejections at this level as well. Because remember, this is a 4-hour resistance, and now we've actually tapped it, which is why I think we've just seen that little bit of a retracement there. Morning, morning. We can't see your screen. Yeah, you'll be able to see it in a minute. Don't worry. Just waiting for we'll just wait for a few people to join, and then we'll break things down. Don't worry. No panic. Gold is in a nasty spot right now. Yeah, we're gonna look at gold in a minute. Ooh, GJ's rejecting. It's flipping bearish. Yeah, we'll give it 5 minutes for a few people to join, and then we will make a start. See, the thing is, I'm looking at this like, and I'm like, okay, well, if we do start to see, since we like broke the highs, and if we're starting to come down, we could actually essentially push down to our Asian high level. It's going to be like a 16 pip range. But no, I'm probably going to wait for support.
Yeah, I mean, quite possibly it could. You'd have to then just be careful. Here, obviously here.
Yeah, of course. I mean, personally, I think I'm going to wait for support to take a buy, you know. It's going to be the solid option.
I mean, even if we start getting closes below 150, 300, then maybe shells will be easier.
Oh yeah, I'd say probably once we're back below the Asian range would be safer, because once we're above it, it's just safer to wait for support. Yep, you'll be able to see my screen in just a minute. Just give it a couple more minutes for a few more people to join, and then you'll be able to see the screen. Don't worry, that's just the intro screen. Oh yeah. So yeah, we got no news today. We got no news today, but we will have news. So we got unemployment rate tomorrow. We got CPI Wednesday. We got PPI on Wednesday as well. We've got retail sales on Friday, so pretty rammed. Okay, let's make a start then. Right. Okay, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. Well rested for the new week. I think this week's going to be a much better week. So, let's take a look at our daily time frame. Let's just remove all analysis for a second. So what we're looking at the daily right now. So if we look at the daily time frame, what we can see is that obviously daily had respected this area as support. So clearly we really failed to break down below the support. We got a lot of liquidity generated, we got a lot of wicks down, and then we ended up seeing daily candle go bullish, right? In the Asian session, we've seen this daily candle make its bottom wick at this point. And notice how we closed above that previous resistance that was created on the daily time frame. So was this move down the retest for daily to continue driving up? So I think we can see further upside, especially once the daily starts to break previous daily high at that point. And then I think we can see a nice move coming up to in this zone over here. So around 150, 800, 150, 700, that kind of area I think would be a solid play to look for further upside, right? That's just from a daily standpoint. Now looking at a 4-hour time frame, so nice. So now we are starting to see the 4-hour retrace. Obviously we've come up to this resistance, right? We've came to this resistance, we've tapped into this resistance. So if we are going to fail, let's say, to break above this area, then we'd probably want to see some form of a close, you know, like on the smaller time frames, maybe back below this kind of zone or our Asian level, to kind of say, okay, well, that we can maybe correct this bullish candle coming back to support, and maybe we're going to retrace back to this support. But just the way that I see it is that, you know, this 4-hour may need to retrace a bit, and then we start to see that come back up to break this level to the left hand side. So this is a resistance. I think buys, you know, safer are going to be within the zone to push up to here. Otherwise, if we take buys over here, we have to consider that this area right over here is going to be a pain, which is around that 150, 700 level. That could be really a problem area for further upside. But again, you know, we just have to look at that as a potential target, as well as the fact that we could easily reject within here. Remember, this is a rejection area on the 4-hour time frame, so technically speaking, if you don't want to take buys, let's say within the range here, you want to wait for a break above, the safest option is going to be to wait for a support to form above that kind of area, then to say, okay, we should come up and fill that wick. Solid closes will give you obviously good options as well, but obviously some form of a support above that zone will give a more higher confirmation to say, okay, we're not going to see the same thing happen on the higher time frames again when we start to reject, if there's a lack of volume, etc. So right now obviously we're seeing the 4-hour candle flip bearish, no problem, not really too worried about that. Look on the 1-hour time frame. So obviously looking on the 1-hour time frame, we can see this is where price gapped down to start the week, right? We can clearly see this is where price got down. Maybe we're going to come back to this area to create some support. So we're looking at that. Obviously we had a high before the weekend. We've tapped into the high at this point. And obviously we saw the Asian session was pretty nice and bullish in the latter part, because obviously we had this initial push down, right? I think that was daily making its bottom wick. We created support, solid 1 hour candle close over there. If you was up for the Asian session, that would have been a great opportunity to see further upside based on the higher time frames. Now we've come to this area and it seems like we are having some issues here for the most part. So now I think for me personally, let's take a look on our 30-minute for a sec and then we can look at that. Morning Mo. Right, so looking on the 30-minute time frame, so from a 30-minute perspective, obviously, yeah, we've come up to resistance over here. We've tapped into this resistance and we broke above the highs, and now we seem like we're rejecting that area for the moment. So for the moment, we're rejecting this area. Obviously, now we have clean candles to the left-hand side, right? And obviously, we could argue, yeah, okay, maybe we will come back down to our Asian lows, right? But you've got to remember, we're already above our Asian high level, which is over here. So if this is our range, technically speaking, we can create some form of a support above here at any point and then come right back up to retest this area that we've just made right now. So that's one thing that I'm looking at. The other thing is we could reject kind of this level in within here and create some support in here, which will still be good to push back up. I think for sells, I personally want to see a resistance form back below here, and then I can say, okay, yeah, we will have a solid play back down to Asian low, and daily's going to retrace a lot more than we think, right? So I think that's going to be the situation right there. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to anticipate sells, because, you know, at any point we can start to form support and head back up, right? At the moment, this is your pullback, which is what, you know, we were kind of waiting for to start the session. So now you're seeing resistance being formed over here. But remember, the trend from the Asian was bullish. So are you just going to jump in sell just because you see one bearish candle that looks like it's rejecting? That's up to you. I'd personally want to see a little bit of structure first, or even to wait again for something below here and then look to fill the range down to here. That's going to be the much better sell, in my opinion, for further downside. But for buys, again, you know, we want to see some form of a support to form above this kind of level here, which would give me a good indication, if we can see a candle do something like this, that we'll see price come back up to retest this zone and then potentially continue up. So you could have taken impulsive sells maybe if you wanted to, with stops above here. It's going to give you very limited options. I'd say, you know, you probably got a maximum of here before you're going to start to see some form of a problem. You know, you're going to start to see potential rejections, but all in all, you know, yes, we are 4 hour resistance, so you're going to see some form of reaction. So that's perfectly fine. We've got a 15-minute candle that closed bearish with no wick to the bottom. So it's pulled back, it's broken the highs, we're now pulling back. But again, we're at this kind of level here. This area here is going to be a level as well to pay attention to. So for the moment, just got to let it do its thing. You know, previous 4 hour candle was a strong bullish candle. So we've got to keep that in the back of our mind, that okay, it's going to take a lot for this whole candle to push back to this level here. But again, if we do create like some form of a lower resistance, then yes, this would be a good target. So if we get a lower resistance within here, then it does make sense, because then we create a resistance and again lower resistance to push down to here. But that's going to be not, in my opinion, the ideal play. You know, the ideal play is going to be waiting for some form of a buying opportunity. Because right now, obviously, you're getting impulsive sells because we have no structure to say that we're going to continue further down. Okay, right, let's take a look at gold then for a minute. So looking at gold from a daily standpoint, so obviously gold has moved up a little bit in the Asian session. Obviously we know that daily closed above this level right over here. We know that daily closed above that previous level. So yeah, I mean, arguably, you know, support in here is going to make sense. However, I would like to see gold probably retrace, you know, because you don't want to be getting caught buying at the high. Bit of a retracement on gold, and then let's say like we start to see support formed on the higher time frames with like above here. That to me would seem a lot safer than to play further buys up to this level here. It's a new week. Weekly is more than likely going to see a bottom wick, you know, so it does kind of make sense, right? Looking at the weekly levels over here, we could easily retrace back into this kind of wick zone and then start heading back up. 4 hour, so obviously 4 hour closed back in the range, right? So if you look at the 4 hour, you had a resistance formed over here, you had this impulsive move up, closed back in the range for Asian session, and now we are at 4 hour support. So if we break down below this 4 hour support, then we can continue down to maybe like 1768, and then maybe even down to 1762 would be a good shout. Right, let's take a look at the 1 hour time frame. So 1 hour time frame it's in a very, very messy range. You can clearly see that we closed back below this resistance over here, and we also obviously have this support right here. So I mean, in terms of sells, it's going to be very limited. You're going to have maybe this range right here to play with, but better sells are probably going to be below that support. But I'd be very careful. Very careful with sells. 30-minute time frame is very messy at this point. You know, you have support over here. You're going to have some form of a short-term play coming down to this level, but I would say that's going to be very risky as sells. I'd say better situation is going to be some form of a buying opportunity off the 4 hour support to say, okay, we should maybe come back up to retest the highs. That's going to be a good outcome, but it's probably not going to be the situation that you're going to see right now. So gold is in a very, very tricky spot, to be honest. You know, this is that 4 hour support right here. We're kind of already at that. So all of this would be wick fill, potential further downside with a lower resistance created or some form of a structure. So pound yen JPY is moving bearish. So it's okay. If you wanted to take sells, you know, okay, then this was your confirmation candle right there, you know, with stops above here, but you'd be looking to push into this area here. I personally think that's, you know, more of a riskier decision. I'd be waiting for, you know, like a low to be made in here, pull back to here, resistance to form, and then I would argue that we could make, you know, we could fill this range. But to be honest, right now, I think if we can see some solid support formed, we can look for further upside. So we've got to wait, right? We've got to wait. Because I would argue that this could happen in the same way that we saw with the Asian session. You know, think about it from a daily standpoint. You had this bearish move down to create support, to correct, to make daily top wick. So what could we see with the 4 hour? Will this be the 4 hour moving down to create the 4 hour bottom wick, support, and do that? So we'll see. Obviously, if you wanted to take sells, that's up to you. It may work out very well. Right, so what's everyone looking at on the YouTube? Got any charts, anything?
Yeah, I just paper trading this sale. To be honest, I was interested, but it's not really something I want to take first thing on a Monday. A bit risky.
Yeah.
I want to take buys, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking for buyers as well. Just gonna start keeping an eye on the 5 minute as well. Right, for Thibs got a chart. Awesome. Harrison, what do you think about this trade I took? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so what's that? NZD CHF 1 hour. That's a sell, right? That's very tough to say because the candles look so tiny. So price is in a bit of a downtrend. So you're in sells right now, right? You waited for resistance to form to retest the lows. I mean, do you think you could send maybe a more zoomed in picture of just what's going on here, and I could take a much better look? It's just it's very tough to kind of see what your I mean, obviously I can work out. Obviously you're creating lower resistances. You came back to resistance somehow, and I think you're looking for further pushes down to here, which does make sense. But obviously I need to take more of a zoomed in look. If you could zoom in, that would make a lot more sense. But I'd say if you're selling it, then yeah, if you're kind of looking at this area as a key level, then I mean, as long as we stay below there, you're expecting further downside. But at the moment I can't really see, because if 1 hour is starting to create support, high levels of support, then you know it may start pushing up a little bit. So yeah, I mean, if you could zoom in a bit, I'd be able to see more clearly what it is exactly you're looking at, like in terms of each 1 hour candle, etc. Because if 1 hour is starting to create you know, like higher levels of support, etc., then you may start to see a little bit of drawdown. So just take that into consideration. Right, so it seems as though we pull right back to our Asian level at this point, which is good. So now we wait. Gotta wait. Yeah, what would be nice if we see the next candle coming down below this zone and then leaving this area. That's gonna be solid. The daily's now pulling back at this point. Yeah, so Prathib, if you can send a much clearer chart, I think that's going to make a lot more sense. So yeah, I mean, obviously the sell's like worked out, this sell move worked out, but from a consistency perspective, I don't think that's a good shout. Like obviously yeah, I mean, it made sense to push down to here. It's gonna go there, but I mean, at any point it can do that. Like it can, because of the uptrend that we was in. So to me, it makes more sense to wait for buys. If we don't get it, then we'll see structure to tell us that we'll continue down. We won't just see the next candle just pumping down all the way to Asian low. But yeah, freaky Monday to start, I tell you now. Right, let's take a look. Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier for me to see. Yeah, if you zoomed in on the 1 hour, it's going to be a lot easier. Ooh, wrong chart. Let me try again. Yeah, sorry, you have to send that one again. It's not, doesn't like that one. Does not like that one. Yeah, sorry, Prathib, if you can send that one more time. I don't know why. I don't know why it wouldn't work. Let me remove all of that actually. Maybe that's why. Let's try it now. Nope, still didn't like it. So yeah, right now I'm paying attention to this area. We may get the first 15-minute candle close below, but then think about if the next 15-minute candle does this, then you know what's that going to do? It's going to flip the 30-minute candle. I mean, if we do just drop, then it's going to be a very freaky Monday. But that's not what I would be looking for, you know, if you think about it. Right, okay, let me try this. No, same thing. What have I done? Is it me? Right, let me try it like this. Let me try it without that. Oh, okay, yeah, it was me. Sorry. Okay, here we go. So NZD CHF 1 hour time frame. Okay, yeah. So basically, yeah, I would say if you look at it. So obviously, what's kind of happened here, right? I think you had the right idea. But if you look, this was a low that was created, right? Price pulled back, it formed resistance right here, and it retested that low. It retested it, and it failed to break lower, right? So yes, we've came back to form resistance again. Or did you, hang on a minute, did you enter here, or did you enter somewhere over here? Yeah, tell me that first, because if you entered here, then you should have been taking profits at this low point, right? If you entered here, then your position's going to be very difficult, because now since we've retested the low, we're creating a higher level of support. And if we're creating high level support, there's a higher chance it will start pushing back to, let's say, this area right here. So yeah, just let me know if you entered in over here where your line is. That's where I would presume this is where your entry would be. Wherever this line is here is where your entry candle would be. If it's there, then you should have taken profits, and then happy days. If you entered somewhere here, then it's going to be very tough, because now 1 hour is starting to create high levels of support. Means it makes sense to push up into here. So yeah, let me know about that one, and then I'll reevaluate it. Oh, beautiful. This is what we want to see on GJ over here. Take a look at the 5 minute. Yeah, we need to wait for this 15-minute candle to close. Yes, I just entered a few minutes ago. Okay, yeah, so basically I would say that it's going to be very difficult right now for further upside, based on the fact that we are creating high levels of support, and it did already retest the low that was created. Because if you look at it, it's like this, isn't it? You know, that's your move there. So you want to be in here, here, and now since we've rejected this level, it's now retracing. So it could easily do this, you know, start doing this now. So you want to be very, very careful in this position. I would just say, look at managing risk if it starts to go against you, and then, you know, seek how you could have potentially caught that winning trade, to be honest. I know the bias is bearish, etc., and I, you know, respect that, but still, I'll be looking at the fact that, okay, we failed to break lower, we failed to break the lows over here. So really, would you not have considered maybe some buys as we started to break above this level here? would you not have considered that? Because this is a range, and then now your next range is here, so you could play up into this range right here. You know, that's something you could have considered. If we break above this level of resistance, then you know that we're going to be coming up to this next level over here, which would mean your sell would be super invalid, especially if it creates support again. So I would just be looking at that, to be honest. But if there's some higher time frame bias there, you know, you want to see confirmation. If you want to see, if your higher time frames are telling you we'll still continue down, that's fine. However, you need to see confirmation, because smaller time frames just aren't giving you that right now, in my opinion. Oh, no one told me what GJ was doing. This would be a solid 15-minute candle right here. We've got 5 minutes left.
That's a nice candle there.
Yeah, beautiful candle. Six minutes.
Nice, good time.
Yeah, it's going to be about a 13, 14 pip stop. But we've got a nice 20 pip range. We'll see how it closes.
Would you take this on the close?
Yes. Yes, if this candle closes like this, as long as it doesn't close like too weak, if it closes like a doji, then I'll wait for the next one. But I'm going to wait to see how the 15-minute candle closes over here. The 5-minute could give you a good shout, but it's going to be obviously a lot more risky, because then you could start to, because then if you don't wait for the 15, you can start to see 5 minutes still continue down, create lower resistance to here. So that'll be obviously more difficult, but a nice solid 15 close for the last 5 minutes, I think will give us a good shout. But you got to wait for the candle to close, right? What we may find, it may close bearish, and then, you know, you just say at that point, okay, we'll wait for the 30-minute candle to close. So there will be options. No worries, Prathib. Just keep an eye on it. Should be sweet, man. But yeah, that should be a solid close. If you look at the 4 hour now, this could easily be the 4 hour wick, and then what we're saying is this kind of area matches up with where we're starting to form a support, which is where I'll be looking at a retracement to support formed, and then I think we could see this 4 hour candle coming right back up to its own high, which would be sweet. We've got to wait for the close. Very, very important to wait for this candle to close, because if it closes the way it just was right then, it's a very dodgy close in my opinion. Definitely see, I'd say we'll definitely see the next 15 start wicking back down, but what we want to see is it start breaking the high in the second half, and then we should be good. Okay, we've got around 2 minutes left. Gold saying, yeah, gold's tapped into 4 hour support at this point. Oh, Ooh, god damn. Should leave us a good enough spot to get an entry, so don't worry too much. And don't panic. Right, we've got 2 minutes left for this candle to close. Very wild at the moment. You can tell the volume's starting to come in at this point. Okay, so the analysis is, right, price made a high in the Asian session. We've now seen the retracement. We've come back to our Asian high level. If this candle can close bullish in the next 1 minute and 20 seconds, and it's a decent bullish candle close, maybe around 153.80, something like that, that's going to be a good opportunity to take a buy to retest the highs. What's 5 minutes saying? I want it to close around 380. That will, to me, would be a strong enough candle. Okay, 30 seconds. 20 seconds. Okay, perfect. Execute buys at that point.
Yeah, I'm into.
Stops are going to be below the current 30-minute candle, and then expecting price to, I mean, I'd say a good target to start with is going to be 155.20 would be a good shout, but really we want to be overall targeting around 600, 580, 600. So yeah, nice start to the Monday, boys. Let's see how we get on. Either way, executed. So I'm
main
gonna,
thing, innit?
yep. So I'm gonna set partial TP on our lovely MT5, and that's gonna be around right over here. Yeah, so I'm going to be closing 50% at 155.20. And then letting the rest run. So we'll see how we get on. But even if this the next 15-minute candle closes bearish, then as long as the 30-minute candle can close bullish, it still makes sense to see price continue moving up. So let's see how we get on. Monday morning. If we take a look on the 5-minute, we get a strong 5-minute candle closure. So I think we should be sweet. Right, I'm just going to stick my heater back on. It's getting a little bit chilly. 2 seconds. this is a solid setup. Even if this doesn't win, you know, you got to think, right, this setup right here, I'm going to take that every single time. Every single time I'm going to be in those buys.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a perfect setup. If that was a 30-minute candle, we'd say that was the ideal.
Yeah, now we've made a little bit of a bottom wick. Looks good. I'm liking that. Man, hopefully it's gonna be nice weather today. Yes, I think I'll close full maybe around 600, or maybe I'll close another 50 there and see if we can push higher for the day. That's what I'm planning to do. Oh man, it's super chilly. I'm not even gonna lie. I wanted it to be a nice warm day today. Yeah, once this 15-minute candle starts breaking the high of the previous 15-minute candle, I think that's when we're going to start to see some nice volume. Until it does that, we can't say we're going to just go bullish. Like, it's made a bottom wick now, but that's not enough yet. We want to see it break the high, and then we'll see price move up. So this is my first TP target. I'm going to have a second TP target right over here, and then I'm going to put stops to break even and let the rest run. So we spoke about, if you was here from the start of the stream, we spoke about this. We're going to wait for support to form, and then we're going to take buys. So if you was here since the start, you know what we were looking at. You would know. You would know. You would know. Beautiful. We've broken the high on the 15-minute candle now. So that to me is a good confirmation to say, well, our probabilities are higher that we should continue moving up. It may not, but the probabilities are now higher. Right. Still got 9 minutes left for the 30-minute candle to close. 1 hour candle, still got half an hour left.
It's nice how the 1 hour still has a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to be staring at the 5. My only concern, if we start to see, you know, closes below here, really, to be honest. At that point, yeah, then I'll close the trade. But until then, we should continue moving up. And we know that coming into 7:30 is a prime volume time.
I mean, if that was the pullback for the session, if we end up getting a 1 hour close above 580, then we could just see continuation.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's why I'm thinking, so 50%, another 50%, and then letting the rest run to potentially up to, I'd say around 700 would be the final place to secure, in my opinion. But hey, we don't know if it's going to be a win, so we just have to think about how we would deal with it if it's not. So for me, I'll be looking at, okay, if we get closures below here, I'm going to exit these buys, because then the 30-minute candle would not close bullish. So you've got to remember that one as well. Just look at this situation right here. Lack of volume. Seemed like it was pumping up, it's now retracing. But I think as long as the 30-minute candle closes bullish, we'll see the next one head up.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this is just like the initial, maybe reacting.
Oh yeah,
getting
yeah, of
back
course.
up here. Do you think?
Oh yeah. I wouldn't even say just that. I'd say if you look on the 5-minute, it's this level here.
That area.
It's
Yeah.
our most recent level. Yeah, it's fine. Like, you only want to be concerned if we start breaking down below here, to be honest, because
Yeah,
then
definitely.
think about it, the 30-minute candle would then be bearish and not bullish, so you don't need to be concerned until the 30-minute is basically back bearish at that point.
Because even if we get wicks in here, I'm not going to be taking anything off, because if it closes back above, I've had a problem before.
Exactly.
You get closed back above, and then
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, right, we should only be concerned if we get a candle like this do this. Then we're wrong. Then we're creating a lower resistance, and then technically speaking, there's a higher probability of us moving down to Asian lows. But if you think about it, you know, you're gonna take this trade every time because we're in an uptrend, we're not in a downtrend. You know, people think because we rejected here, yes, our most recent like price action is structurally bearish because of this move down, but higher time frames, everything else supports the idea that if we create support right here, we should see a move back up. So we have to go with that. Plus we planned, we executed, and that's all that matters, you know. Because then if you plan and you execute and the execution goes wrong, or what you planned for didn't work out, then you can say to yourself, okay, well, how could I have taken the winning trade? How can I have been better? And then you would have said to yourself, okay, well, you know, maybe since whatever. But until we're there, we don't know yet. You know, look at that 5-minute. It wicked down. We thought we were going to come bearish, and then it closed bullish. Obviously, it closed at this area, but it's only a minor level on the 5. Like I say, if this 30-minute candle can close bullish the way that it is right now, then we're gonna see 730 continuous bullish. In terms of probability, you know, that's gonna be an 80%, 90% chance that's gonna happen. And you know, like I said at the start, what did we want to see? We wanted to see candles that bullish candles that left this area like this. You know, it's exactly what we're seeing right here. It's the same thing. So higher chance, head up. Just gotta be patient. Right. Still got like 3 minutes left for this 15-minute candle to close. If you think about it, that's 3 minutes left for the 30-minute candle to close. So it does kind of make sense to see this 30-minute candle close bullish, to be honest. So I don't think we need to be concerned about this position right now, unless obviously in the last 3 minutes some drastic shift happens. But apart from that, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Right. Gold is breaking up over here. Let's take a look on the 15-minute time frame. 15-minute candle is moving bullish. You got a 5-minute candle that closed above that area. So you need to wait for this 15-minute candle to close over here to maybe see if gold is going to continue moving bullish up to 1782 would make a lot of sense. So this range on gold is around 28, 30 pips roughly. If you get the wick fill, it's going to be around 40 pips. So we'll keep an eye on gold. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit slower. It's a Monday, but now we're coming into good volume time anyway, so and then the 30-minute candle should close bullish. 30-minute candle, you know, 1 hour's bullish. Anything that isn't right now is 4-hour candle, but it's made its bottom wick. We spoke about this area, which is where we want to see a pullback to, and then potential rejections from this kind of this area to push up into here. So everything we've spoke about, we planned for, and everything we've planned for, we've executed on. And those who showed up early from the stream, if this works out, then they would have been in these for sure, because we spoke about this since the minute we got on the stream. So no excuses.
And then if you're waiting for the 30 to close, you can always get in based off that or the bottom wick on the next 30.
Exactly. If this is where in the future, let's say we got an early 15-minute entry and now we got the 30-minute candle closing bullish, this is where you could be like, okay, now I'm going to be adding a position right over here to push up. You know, but yeah, not today. Not today. Right, we've got a minute left for this candle to close. Let's take a look at gold. Gold's got a minute left. So looking on the 5-minute time frame, obviously you've seen this 5-minute candle start pushing up over here. It's moved around 10 pips. But you probably want to wait for the 15-minute candle to close. 30-minute candle also looks like a big liquidity grab. 1 hour's breaking above the 1 hour highs. 4-hour count, yeah. This kind of area though is going to cause you a little bit of problems. 780, 800. So we'll see. I think that's what it's reacting to right now. Oh, 15-minute candle's flipping bearish. But the 30-minute candle should still be bullish, which is what we want. But I'd still always execute based off the 15-minute time frame, because based on the fact that, okay, the 15-minute candle should close bullish, and then the next one should continue. Even if the next 15 closes bearish, that's okay. But let's see how the 30 closes. It closed bullish, but it's a bit of a weaker 30-minute candle. But still should be fine for price to continue up at this point. I personally think this is just, you know, a pullback, further pullback, 715, and then we'll see 730. Once we start breaking above the highs at 154.60, then we should be fine at that point to see further upside. But I'm not too concerned about this 15-minute candle, to be honest. What we just don't want to see is the first half of this 30-minute start closing below this support right here. But the 30-minute candle didn't close as strong as we would have hoped. But it should be fine. All we need is a support formed on the 5-minute, and we'll continue up. Yeah, just gotta have faith in your higher time frames. Right, we'll look at it from a 15-minute point of view. Ooh, gold's gonna continue bullish over here. Yeah, gold should continue moving bullish to 1782. GJ buys. One hour candle still open. Interesting.
Hopefully start rejecting off here.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, it could be the 30 bottom wick. I mean, technically we can come anywhere into here, remember, and then start driving up. But obviously this is our area that we want to see. This is the area we want to see respected, of course. You know, to see this candle pump up. So we'll see. Jaya Deep R closed at break even. Okay, that's up to you. I'm still in these buys over here. So if we wait for the 30-minute candle to close, obviously we've got a slightly better risk to reward, but I don't think that matters too much because we know that, you know, that sort of 15-minute candle, you can easily see the next one start pumping up, and then you'd be like, oh man, I should just execute on the 15. So you can't have it both ways. To be honest, this is where, again, like we were saying, is if we was in that situation, you could actually add a position and get a better entry than your original. But then you'd really have to expect this 30-minute candle to respect the low and continue moving up. Yeah, I think I'd start managing risk if we see the 15-minute close below 153.20. I would then start to manage risk. Yeah, that would make the most sense to start closing positions off. But I think in the short term, it's like kind of respecting this short-term bearish market structure. But I think that's because of the lack of volume right now. But we'll see. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, if you close the break even, that's up to you. I mean, me personally, still gonna be holding these buys for a minute. Whoa. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunity to like manage risk in this trade anyway. That's the good thing about it. There will be an opportunity to manage risk, because if you see the 15-minute close below 520 or sorry 320, then of course there's a very high probability it's gonna hit your stop loss, which is obviously no good, right?
But like we've been looking at, though, you know, you get in a reasonable time where you think it's good, and then just let it do what it needs to do. If it needs to like create further support in here, then just let it do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, look, there's always going to be a probability, isn't there? Five minutes, not looking great. Yeah, it did react to that level there on the 5 minute. Yeah, I mean, I just don't really. I'm just not trusting it 100% right now. Like, part of me is telling me that there's a chance this isn't going to work out. So you just have to If that's the case, then we just have to like think about, okay, well, how are we going to manage this trade? But I mean, this, you know, because based off the 30-minute, we can, you know, come down anywhere into here and then retrace. But based off the 15-minute, it doesn't really make sense to see it closing below this level. Do you know what I'm saying? It could be very dodgy. But we may just want to tap into here and then start flying up. Do you know what I mean? It could be a matter of a number of things. This 30 minutes still got a while if you think about it. I mean, it made complete sense. You're going to take this trade every time, really, if you think about it. It would not make sense not to take this trade, because there's a probability to it. Obviously, the drawdown ain't nice, but that's just how it goes. Yeah, 5 minutes starting to create support now. Yeah, let's see how this 15-minute candle closes, and then I think I'll decide whether I want to manage this trade. Morning, hope you all well. Great trade you guys got going. I think I might sit on my hands until the 4-hour range breaks out. Got smacked twice last week. Yeah, man, it's up to you. I mean, if that's what you're looking at, then it makes sense. I would just be very careful coming into that 4-hour range there, because there's a lot of problems in that range. Nice. So we made a nice liquidity wick now on the 15-minute time frame. 5-minute candle created support. So this is the type of support I do like to see from a 5-minute perspective, to say, like, you know, okay, now we're creating this structure. Although we had this, once we break above here, aka once we break above that 15-minute high. So, you know, just being that little bit extra patient, not so worrying about the drawdown, has allowed us to stay in this position. 30-minute candle now flipping bullish. Once we break the 30-minute high at 154.45, we'll be continuing up. I am very confident about that. What is your plan to manage the trade? I spoke about that. I spoke about the fact that if we get a 15-minute candle closed below here, then I'll be closing the majority of the position. That never happened. We wicked down into it, and now it seems like we're rejecting it. So I would say that now we can start respecting higher time frames. If you think about it, if this 15-minute candle closed bullish, man, it would make so much sense to add a position if it closed like somewhere over here. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really want to do that. I'm not going to do that on a Monday. But for the future, I'm going to be jotting that down. So right now, I'd say there's confidence in the setup based on what I'm seeing here. You know, we're now leaving this zone, in my opinion. And now, as long as this 15-minute candle can close bullish, and especially above here, then we'll see price head up to here and then up to here, in my opinion. If this is the 30-minute bottom wick. But we have to wait for it to close, because remember, you know, we can't guarantee that. You know, look what it's doing right now in the last hot sec. So we want to still be careful, of course. But there we go. Even if it closes bullish, that's still decent enough for me, to be honest, to say that the first half of the candle has created a bottom wick, and then the next one should head up. But again, you know, there's no guarantees about anything, is there? Obviously, if we close bearish, I'm not going to be managing the trade at that point, because, you know, the 30-minute candle is still open. You know, it's still respecting support, in my opinion. So it's a tough one at this moment. I did think the way it was flipping and pushing up that we'd see a nice squeeze, but
Really lacking the volume.
yeah, I think it's a little bit lack of volume. It could be a number of things. Let's just see how the 15 closes, because obviously if it closes nice strong bullish candle, then I mean I think we're good. If it closes bearish, yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one because we're still respecting support, remember, but we're closing bearish, so it's a tricky one. It's just the way that it flipped. I was like, oh, I like that a lot. But then, you know, look at this situation right now. If we're still respecting this, then it's very tough. You know, if we're not gonna be creating this and then this, you know, this is gonna be very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Because there's still like a weak 15 minute. It's not like a strong 15 minute. Like it's giving us like a, oh yeah, no, we're not doing much. Yes, come on, 5 minute. Oh, beautiful.
Do your thing.
Yes, 50. Come on, do your thing, man. Come on, do it for the boys. Do it for the Monday morning. I just want it to. I mean, once it closes above here, I've got full confidence in the setup. To be completely honest. And to be honest, if people hadn't gotten the buys at that point, I'd say that would be a great entry. If it closes above this little minor resistance, that with the 30-minute candle in your direction and then closing above the minor resistance, I'd say you can't really get better than that for a trade. Oh, it's closing bearish over here. It's closing like a weak bearish though.
No, it's not.
No. It closed like a doji bullish candle. Let's see how the 5-minute candle closed.
I'm still going to be holding this, I think, until the 30 closes at least.
I hear that one. Just don't like that situation. I think I want to see it break the 15-minute high for me to say that we're going to head up at this point, because that 15 close right there, yeah, very, very tricky now. Very tricky, because ideally, if you think about it, we would need a further 5-minute bullish candle in my opinion. So in fact, that's how I'm going to manage this trade. If we start to see 5 minutes closing below here, then I'm going to be exiting some positions, unless we see the 5-minute respecting here and then start moving up, you know, and close strong bullish, start breaking above here, then, you know, this still could easily come down. So that's what I'm going to be looking at right now, just paying attention to that. That's what I would say is going to be the best shout, because if we start to see 5-minute candles closing below this support here, then you're gonna see more downside, and then, you know, it's going to be very, very tricky at this point. So yeah, like I say, we really need to see this 5-minute candle give us a bit of volume here, start pushing up above here, and then, because we're gonna get a deep push somewhere, I can tell you. It's either going to be down into this rejection area, or it's going to be, we're going to start pushing up. Obviously the probabilities are on our side that we'll push up, but, you know, there's no guarantee. Yeah, I want to see this 5-minute break the high, and then I'll have very good confidence in the setup. It's been a longish trade, hasn't it? Fairly long trade. Just want to see a bit of volume. Give us a little bit of indication over here.
Yeah, I want to see how the hour closes, because that could be a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. Gold has pulled back, created support on the 5 minute. So there's that potential now we can start moving up to fill this wick on gold. Very nice. Oh yeah, see, look at this. I do believe if we get a 5 minute candle closing below here, we're gonna struggle 100% to go up. So that's what I'm paying attention to. Because we should have volume now. Because we don't want ATM to just stitch us right. Come on, 5 minute. Yeah, you just got to think about it from a smaller time frame perspective, the same way that we look at the higher time frames. If we break below here, then we're coming down to here, which means that we're going to be sitting in further drawdown. So to me, it doesn't make sense. Yep, I think we're seeing this happen now. Not a good look so far. Not trusting. Oh yeah, now look at that, man. Dodgy Dave.
That's not nice. Seems like it might carry on.
I mean, you could manage the position since we're breaking the 15 low, but it hasn't closed. This is the only thing. You know, we've seen times where it hasn't closed yet. Still does its thing, but this isn't looking good at this point. Yeah, exactly what I was talking about there. If this 5 minute candle closes below here, then it's very dodgy, Dave. I mean, you can manage the position now if you really want to. It's gonna save you a little bit of skin, as they say. Yeah, I'm closing half just at this moment here. So I've closed 50% of the position at this point. I think there's a very high chance you're gonna get stopped out at this moment. But you know, again, paying attention to the smaller time frames definitely has helped. But it's not nice to be taking an L on a Monday. But of course, anything can happen, but I think it was important to manage risk, because now look, the 5 minutes actually broken below this level right here. So it doesn't really make sense to see price continuing moving up at the moment. I'd say there's a good chance we're going to get stopped. But I'd like to see where this 15 closes anyway, just in case it does end up retracing, which it very much can do still. But just to let you guys know, I have now closed 50% of the position. So what I might do is, if we get a further, let's say we get a bullish candle do something like this coming into 8 a.m. Let's say we get a 50-minute candle do that, then I'll add the risk back on with entries here to continue up. That's what I'll do. Yeah, thing is, we really needed that 15 to close there, otherwise it was not making sense. It was going to be very, very tough. Is there any way to make stop loss for part of the trade in MT4? I don't actually know, you know. Can anyone answer that question? I haven't used MT4 in a while, so I actually can't tell you at all, man. Yeah, if we get a further support form with 8 a.m, if we get a further bullish candle closure over here, then I'll add the position back on.
And if this flips, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, but even if it flips, you know, we want to be very careful, because from what I've seen as well, it may flip. It may do that, close like a dodgy candle, and then open just dumps. Open just goes bang, bang, drops the whole thing. So ideally, we want to see it like a 15-minute candle closing stronger bullish in our direction, really. I think if I was to, so I closed out for -40, so I think if this trade ends up winning, might just be a break-even day.
Yeah, I still haven't closed anything yet. I want to see how the 30 closes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a good shout. I just didn't really trust. I didn't trust it the way the 5-minute was doing its thing.
You know, I've seen many times, like, you see 1 5-minute break below where we want to stay, then we just continue down.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, even if it saves me 10 quid or whatever, that's still going to be, you know, important when it comes to the long run. The long run game. I personally think that if the first 15 minutes of open does this, you know, and then closes like this, then I'll add the wrist back on. That's what I'll do. But this situation right here is very, very dodgy. Very, very dodgy. But I've managed risk, close 50%, so just stick that down to like 20. That would be crazy if it does its thing now. But you know, if you look at it from where the 5-minute candle closed, does it make sense to see more downside? It does, in my opinion. I think we could have got stopped pretty ASAP. 15 minutes doing its thing right now. Is there any way to make stop loss for part of the trade in MT? Oh, I think we've answered that. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. In all honesty. It's flipping bullish, but the way I've seen this candle flip, I think open's gonna stitch us a little bit. It needs to close above here, and then I'll re-enter in the buy. If we close above this little minor resistance, then I'll add the position back on. If it doesn't, I've seen this before where open can do a madness and just come down and fill this. Trust. What are you using? MT5? Yes, I'm using MT5. Yeah, because the 30-minute candle is closing bearish over here as well. 1 hour candle was like a weaker bullish. Yeah, we could easily see price come down if we don't see something pretty solid. Yeah, so my current plan right now, like I was saying, is I'll add the risk back on. If I get a 15-minute candle wick down, close bullish like this, then I'll be adding the risk back on to see price moving up. If we can't do that, then at least it will not be a full stop loss hit. It will be, you know, at least I manage some risk there. But you know, I'm going to be taking that trade every single time. Every single time I'm going to be taking that trade. But now we just want to be careful. Because if you look on the 5-minute, it looks exactly what happened on the 4-hour on GJ. And what happened on the 4-hour on GJ was that although it closed, you know, like back above 4-hour support, etc., it created further resistance and then headed right back down to it, which is what our open would do from a 5-minute point of view if we can't close solid. So we've got like a minute left over here.
Bit of a predicament here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I don't want to close any if I don't break below like 320, 315. But at the same time, this 30 is going to close bearish. It's not giving me much confidence for London Open. But I suppose the hour's still closing bullish, so I've got to remember that.
Yeah, hours closing bullish, 30-minute candle closing bullish. The only thing is it depends where this 15 closes. You know, if this 15 wants to close above this little minor resistance, then I'll add the risk back on. It's about to close above. Yeah, I added the risk back on at that point. Yeah, I've added the risk back onto this trade based off the 15-minute candle. And based off the fact that the previous 30-minute candle closed bullish. But actually thinking about it, it looks like a little bit of that, what do you call it, celery situation, where the next one's just gonna dump. But we'll see. It may not. I just wanted a 15-minute candle to close above this little minor resistance, and then I'll be confident to say that we could head down. So I did add the risk back on, but only a 0.5 at this point. So if I do lose today, it's going to be a little bit more than I would normally, but still. 1 hour candle closed bullish. So we just really want to see this 1 hour candle create a bit of a bottom wick and then flip up would be the solid play there. But yeah, I did add the risk back on. But only based off of the fact that we closed above here, which is what I wanted to see. That's the only reason. Because we broke the low and then we closed above this little minor resistance. Now obviously, you know, there's no guarantee. This may just dump down. That's open for you. However, I would really like to see this candle flip, and then I'd have full confidence that we should start pushing up with the volume in 8 AM. So I just gotta be confident. But obviously, yeah, the way that it closed wasn't amazing. It wasn't completely solid. It's just the way that I liked it closed above here. Yeah, this is the thing. The way I've seen this before, man, I from what I've seen, I can easily see this just coming down. But it's just based off that 15-minute, the way that it closed above the minor resistance is what gave me confidence to say, okay, well, we should see price come up. But maybe it wants to like do a retest of this kind of area. What is your strategy for this trade? Well, the strategy for the trade is price made a high, pull back, form support, expecting the high to get retested. But yeah, this situation right here, that's kind of what I was worried about. Maybe I shouldn't have added the risk back on, but there you go. It is what it is now.
I may have fucked up as well. I added a half position based off that, but maybe I shouldn't have because this trade was struggling.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I'm not really liking it now at this point. This looks like this is going to come down, hit stops.
It's got no top wick though. Could come. It's probably going to come
Yeah,
back
that's
down.
the only thing.
I think if you got a good stop, I think you're alright.
Yeah, my stops are still down over here, which is going to be slightly larger than what I wanted. But we'll see. I just from experience know the way this is already setting up, this has got a good chance it's just going to completely come down. It's just the way that it's setting up. I've just
Yeah, it's coming down so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming down hard. Open does that type of thing. I might close my half position at this point.
I've got my half position a bit higher up below the previous 15.
I think if it breaks to 30 low, I'll close the half position just to be safe. But the way it's moving, this is more than likely now at this point gonna hit stop. Obviously I hope it doesn't, but based on experience and the way I've seen it do what it's done, yeah, not looking good. Well, either way, guys, you know, the trade was valid from the start. Like the first bullish candle was valid. Now at this point, it becomes very tough. Oh, I closed one. Yeah, but I just got
I'm
stopped.
out.
Yeah,
Completely.
bam. Ouch. Done a minus 147 in the end today. Damn.
Yeah, so I shouldn't have added that half position because I started the full position open.
Yep, it's exactly what I thought was going to happen based on London Open.
Yeah, big loss.
Okay, so it's like minus 12 pips over here.
So maybe it was struggling at that 400 level. So that was a pullback to continue down.
Yeah, it's just a shame because like I said, you know, if we did close above that little minor resistance, I thought we would continue bullish, but the way they're setting up right now, the buys are out of the water now. So there you go.
What I've learned is don't add a position if you're not already in profits, kind of thing. Like obviously not for you because you closed half, but
Yeah, I wanted to add it back on. Yeah, not the best start to the week, but still, we gave buys a shout. I think buys are a good shout from here, and then after that it just became very, very tough. But this is why I hate taking trades coming into open. It just does madnesses like that. But it's cool, man. It is what it is. A little bit of patience, you know, it can be made back this week.
That 50-minute did look quite good though.
Yeah, you know the way like it closed above, and I was thinking, oh yeah, that's pretty solid situation right there. But then I said to you, didn't I? Like open the way that it moves, it just does some crazy shit.
It's crazy. If this somehow comes back up.
Yeah, I'm afraid it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, so I was down 120 for that at the end.
Ouch. Yeah, I think in your case, you shouldn't have added the position
Should
back on.
not. Yeah,
Nah.
it's just
Because you was in, like, you had your full position still held.
exactly. Plus, we were struggling the whole time anyway.
Yeah.
You know, when like you think, oh, okay, now the 15 minutes close like that, but now it's good.
Yeah, I hear that one. I think it's gonna. Yeah.
We'll get a lesson.
Yeah, it's a good lesson. But obviously, for me, it's like now I am in a position for not the best start to the week. However, the trade that I wanted to execute on, I executed on. You know, and that's all it is for me. But yeah, I think we basically just rejected hard off of this 4-hour resistance.
We're still in this range, aren't we?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Did you get in this, Leon?
Yeah, I took the original one and got stopped out on the first candle at break even. It went like 6 pips, and I will set my stops to break even after that.
Okay.
And then I saw the 30 close, and I thought, yeah, that's a good close, and it started to wick down and had no top wick. I thought that's definitely coming up to make a top wick, and yeah, stopped out. It's for about 12 pips, but yeah, not nice. But it's just London Open, isn't it? What can you do?
Yeah.
It's always annoying to start the week with a loss.
Oh yeah. It's not the best situation, but the day's not over.
It is for me, mate. I'm taking 2 trades.
Yeah. It is what it is now.
Had 2 positions today, so just feels at the moment being in a trade at 8, like it's just playing with fire.
Yeah, it is at the moment. Yeah.
It's hard though when you got in. Well, what time did we get? We got in at like 7, didn't we?
Yeah, we've been in this trade for an hour.
Yeah, it was an hour.
Oh, look at gold. Yeah, reacted to that level. Coming down. Yeah, I mean, it was very tricky. Very, very tricky spot. I think as well, like to some extent, we obviously clearly had issues here. Like clearly. But that doesn't mean, you know, now you jump in sells. If I was going to take sells at this point, if I was personally going to take sells, I mean, I think I'd want to see like a minor resistance formed within this range and then anticipate the range to get filled. But that's about it. That's all I'd be looking for now. It may even create on the 5-minute over here. Just call it the day. It's Monday. Yeah, I took buys. I mean, at this point, I'm not actively looking for another trade. The only thing that I said, you know, is for sells, if we get resistance below here, to push down into here would make the most sense. That would make sense. Otherwise, yeah, I'm calling it a day today. Right, I am gonna go make a drink. I need it after that long hour in the trade, and I'm gonna come back. But it's a shame because the 1 hour candle did close bullish, right? 1 hour candle closed bullish. the 30-minute candle also both closed bullish and respected the lows. But I think this situation right here, I've seen this happen a few times. It's not, obviously, you know, like how we say this is like the 80% win rate, right? This is where it doesn't work out. You know, this is that 20%. You know, this trade right here is the 20% that doesn't work out.
It was hard though, because like you had us making a high, then we started creating support, and then obviously from where we opened, we obviously just couldn't get back above it. But you'd expect that to break.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you wouldn't even really want to pay attention to this. You'd want to pay attention to the fact that we've created a high over here, form support, and then look to retest that. That's what you'd wanted to be looking at. I think this level, you know, was important in the sense of where we were this morning. Like, as when we was above this level here, it made sense to see maybe support formed above here, but we didn't. So then I said, okay, well, this is your area I'd look for support, you know, which is going to be right here. But yeah, man, I mean, you know, it is what it is, I'm afraid now. Always that little probability. It's just the way, if I hadn't have added my position back on, it wouldn't have been so deep. But I really thought, all right, this candle here looks pretty solid to say, okay, we should head up. But then I think once, do you know what it was? It was the way that before it closed, I had like a little bit of a wick, and obviously I was thinking, yeah, it's solid. And then as it closed like that candle. I said the next one always just seems to break the low. And maybe that would have been a good opportunity to actually just close my position in full at break even there. And then, I said, you know, because you know I've said that before, this sort of candles, I don't know what it is about this candle, but the next one just always seems to come down and just dump. You know, there's no two ways about it.
And maybe before, obviously this was London Open, we could have even waited for a bomb wick to be formed, but then it started to break, it started to flip.
Yeah,
then you could have said, okay, now,
yeah, I mean, the half position isn't really that deep. Like, it's not great, but it's not like it's not that deep, if that makes sense. I just overall, we just want to see how we could have avoided this L, you know. However, why GJ not making sense when it broke the low of the 1 hour and 30-minute candle? I actually took it, and I am not sure, am I looking at it correctly? No, you are looking at it correctly. You know, you have to think about the structure. I mean, you know, we had support over here, right? So this is your Asian low. We created a pre-London support which was higher than that. So you're creating a high level of support. We're above resistance. So this was resistance, turn support. It's the money setup. But on today, it just didn't work out. That's just, it is what it is. You know, so basically, with each of these setups, right, all you kind of have to do is go and investigate what happened within the candles. You know, that's all you have to do. And obviously, you'll probably see similarities between ones that didn't work out and ones that did. So that's all it is, you know. So there will be, like for example, today's situation, I'd say was very tough. Reason being it was tough was because the way that we broke down, right? We broke down and then ended up closing bullish. Right, and if you think about it, if we're gonna head down, we would have respected here, and obviously if this was the high point, we made a lower resistance, right, which is fine. We made a lower resistance, and then notice how this candle here, it broke above that resistance over here, so it made sense to see further upside. Obviously, however, we, you know, open just wanted to do what it wanted to do, and it did not respect this area. So, I mean, it is what it is now, isn't it? So if you look at the daily is now pulling right back. You know, we expected that the Asian low would have been the daily bottom wick, and that when we started breaking above daily highs, we would be bullish. 4 hour has now pulled right back. You know, because the 4 hour candle was still open. The way the previous 4 hour closed, it closed at resistance. So yeah, okay, like, yeah, fine, whatever. There was a higher chance that we would pull back with this 4 hour candle, which was what we waited for. But there was no reason to say the next one couldn't do like that, close like that, we were looking at. And then we were trying to grab buys in here. We were trying to grab buys in here based off of also this area to the left hand side, doing a retest of it. and then continuing down. So yeah, I'm afraid it just is what it is. You know, there's always going to be a probability, but I think to some extent we can investigate in a little bit maybe why the buyers didn't work out. Yeah, because obviously pretty much once it started to create the lower resistance on the 5, I know that means that, you know, there's a chance of us pulling us back. But then once we started to create that higher level of support, it gave me further confidence to say, okay, yeah, we should break through this, you know, but we just didn't. So nothing more to say. Because even if you look at these circumstances, a lot of times, you know, there's going to be times where it just doesn't do what you want it to do. And then, okay, then answer me this then. How could you have caught sells, right? How could you have caught sells? Well, then you could only really have caught sells from around here. So you would have caught sells based off these rejections, right? Candle closure, fine. You want to get in there? That's cool. But I know that we could have easily done that at any point. So could you have caught sells over here? Well, no, you couldn't, because even though we created lower resistance, right, we're at support. We created support, we rejected this area, we're at support, so no, we can't. Can't take sells here, candle's still bullish. So the only place you could have really executed was either here, but from a consistency perspective, that's not going to work out, or here. So where would you have taken a trade? Well, where we create support. That's my consistency setup, to retest the high. That formation. That's your consistency setup. And now we've tapped into our Asian level. So we'll see if we can pull back, create resistance to head further down. Or what if we get closures back above here? What would you then say? Yeah, I'd only give the traders like a second chance if I see something pretty solid at this point, because now it's going to be very, very difficult. Right, bear with me, people. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Nothing to do here. Gold is now all creating a support. So this would now be a much, much safer opportunity to look for further upside on gold. If you get the bullish 15-minute candle, but you want to be very, very careful. Right, I'll be back.
You must be missing me so bad. When you left, you said that I don't deserve you, but I can see that you don't wanna lose what we had. Oh, you're the one that I need. Let's just take it slow and just breathe. Loving someone is not easy, you know, but it makes us feel alive, so we go with the flow.
Sorry about that. I'm back. So yeah, I did notice how we created like a little minor resistance over here on the 15-minute candle. It's moved around like 10 pips, but yeah, not really interested in. I don't think taking another trade here today. Mr. Kelsey.
Yes, mate.
Yo, how's it going?
Yeah, all right.
Good.
Yeah, I had time to reflect.
Yeah, me too. I kind of like, it's always good to like, once you've taken a trade, if you've taken an L, just go and get some fresh air. Go, think about the decision you made. Go look at what we're looking at. And I think one of the reasons why the buy didn't work out, right? I think one of the reasons why the buy didn't work out is because, let's say like we're looking for market structure, right? If you think about it, right? Did we make a high to here?
Yeah, I was
No.
looking at that. Yes, still making lower highs.
Yeah, so if you think about it, right? If we're doing this, so we're creating this and we're creating this.
Even over there.
Yeah, so overall, yes, we created a support and we had the correct idea, right? The idea was fully correct. However, because we hadn't, let's say we made a high above here and then pulled back and formed support, then yes, that's the setup right there. But because we hadn't broken out of the range, then technically speaking, here to here is our range, and this was just what we would class as like a mid support. So basically, it was a very tough position to be in. But I think like the idea was like, it wasn't the wrong idea. Like, it wasn't like, oh no, you took a dumb trade. It's like, just again, like just a slightly little bit more paying attention, we would have said, okay, well, I think the lesson from today is we failed to break higher, right? Therefore, I mean, like, we could have seen at least a push up to here, like, for sure. But really, if you think about it, these are the days where actually breaks above here would have made more sense to see continuation, because it's ranging. It's just in a range, and that's why we got stitched up, because we haven't actually gone anywhere. This is the range. This is actually all consolidation. I think someone asked you. Oh no, you've answered it.
Yeah, I just got back to him. But yeah, I've basically been looking at the same approach as H. So we're trying some things out together and stuff like that. And I think in the long run it should work.
Oh yeah. I just think today was like, we had the right, like, when we came to the charts, we're like, okay, yeah, we made a high in Asian, wait for support to form to continue, because what we were kind of like looking at was like this whole area here, right? We were kind of like focusing on this factor, high made, support, continuation. But then, again, I think just like that slightly little bit more from me as well, paying attention, would have said, okay, well, we're actually in a range right now. We're in a range right now. So the whole thing's going to be very difficult. Like, the probabilities were lower. Like, we could have gone like that. Like, we could have seen the next candle continue moving bullish, 100%. But then we might have not gone anywhere from here. We could have just rejected again and then created the range. So it wasn't like an awful, like, it wasn't an awful trade. It wasn't anything like that. It was more the fact that, okay, the probabilities are lower. That's why we got stitched with open. Now, that's what I think the mistake that was made was adding the risk back on too early. For me, the mistake that was made was adding the risk back on too early. Especially because I was focusing on the fact that we closed above here, but not focusing on the fact that, okay, what would have made sense was to wait for a bottom wick and then for price to start driving up and then look to test here.
Yeah, it's really annoying with trading because, like, you make these mistakes and you say, oh, I'm not going to make that again. But then when you're in the live market, you forget. So you have to keep sometimes making that mistake to realise.
Yeah.
grain it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think necessarily like we've made this sort of mistake before. It's not like we've technically made this mistake. It's just that, you know, there was, to some extent, the range was underlooked. You know, the fact that, because what we kind of focused on, which was the right idea, like we know that's the solid play, is to wait for the high to be made, which is here, support, and then look to like retest it. But because we was in the range, because we'd actually rejected the highs, there was like just that slightly lower probability that we would even get to here, let alone back up and break above. So technically then, what actually would have made more sense was to wait for like a resistance to form. But then the problem with that is, you know, you had support, so now you can't take a sell. And then, to be honest, then it kind of makes sense to say, okay, well, really the truth is that there was no good entry for today. Maybe here, you know, obviously I wasn't here, I wouldn't have liked to have really executed. I know it would have headed down like to here, would have made sense. But to be honest with you, it's like, you know, we've taken the buy loss here, you know, yeah, okay, now we're creating resistance below it. That's what I did say. But again, you know, range was very limited. We're talking 12 pips, you know, and plus you don't want to switch up on the bias, because now we know that probabilities are lower, standardized. So now am I going to jump in sells? Probably not. But yeah, looking at it again, like I looked at the 4 hour and it just kind of made sense. Like, you know what, we're at resistance, we're not breaking higher. It's going to be very, very tough at this point.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to be very careful this week until we really start seeing some movements out of this range.
Yeah, I would agree. But this would have been a good shout for a sell. I mean, you would have got like 12
I was
pips.
looking at that one.
Yeah, it would have been a good shout.
Or even
This candle
after
here.
that first 30-minute closed and the pullback in the next candle.
Which one was that?
So the 30.
Oh, what?
So
Taking
anywhere in that top
entries
wick,
over here? Yeah, that's basically where that 5-minute resistance was created. So once you get that 5-minute resistance, you know, now you have this low to retest and down into here. But still, not, that's probably the best situation for the session so far. Like, this worked out, but we really did anticipate the buys to play out, but it just didn't. So I think in terms of like the lesson for today is going to be, you know, to look at, okay, overall 4 hour range, probabilities were lower, you know, very, very tough situation, lack of volume, etc. So yeah, I'm not touching GJ till we left the daily range. It's fair enough. Have my GU limits at 1.38077, but spread on trading 2-on-2 was too thick, so it didn't trigger me at night. Oh, trading 2-on-2, man, I've heard some bad things about them for a broker. I've heard their spreads are very, very high, just from what I've heard. But still. So looking at gold, obviously gold did end up continuing moving bullish. Yeah, so that 15-minute candle created a great entry point over there at 8.15. Solid entry there. Stops below either here or here would have made sense. Look to push up into here and then retest here. So actually gold was the best shout for today. That was an absolute banging trade there. Yeah, gold was a great setup. Created a support above the resistance. Price made a high over here. Pulled back, created support. Pushed up to retest that. But I'm not at a point where I'm trading gold at the moment. not trading gold at the moment. Once I get GJ on the wraps, gold will be next. But yeah, no, I think like in terms of, you know, what we were looking at, etc., it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like, we could have easily seen a push up to here, but I feel like from here onwards there was no guarantee, you know. But the idea was like valid. It just wasn't, it, you know, it wasn't the best. Like, it was a lot harder. So to be honest with you, for the session today, nothing really made sense apart from maybe over here or in here. Resistance in here made the most sense. Probably the resistance in here made the most sense, to be honest, to push down to here. I think that's the only thing that made the most sense. Apart from that, hi, I'm late. Any trade taken today? Yeah, we had GJ buys from 153.90, but it didn't really work out. Yeah, executed buys on this 15-minute candle. Price made a high in Asian over here, looking for support to form to retest this high and then continue on. But I think actually maybe today we could have also said, you know, you know, it would have made more sense to see price break above here to continue. Can you see my trade? Yes, Mr. T, I can see your trade. Let me check it out. Oh, wrong chart. Hang on, I did that last time, didn't it? Right, let me try this way. Right, so you took a pound yen sell. Out of position, went back when started breaking again. Continue press down. So you entered on the break of the low at 152.40, closed 90% at 10 pips. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Yeah, I mean, obviously TP would have been somewhere down over here, right? About 150, 100, which was support. So I'd say, yeah, that's probably a good shout. Definitely a good shout. But I think in terms of your stop loss, to be honest, your stop would have to be over here. Stop would have to be above the current 30-minute candle, in my opinion, for this to work out, you know, in most cases. Because the next candle could have easily started wicking up into here. And then, you know, if you got stopped over there, it would have made sense. Plus, you see this point here? This should be right here, so you know, so people know that you entered in as it broke down below there. But yeah, I think it was a good shout. That's what you were looking at, based on the current structure. So there you go, a good shout. Well, we're all still learning. I learn every day from my own mistakes. So, plus I don't have to justify myself to anybody. Holding gold buys up to 1800 for this week. Nice push up from last Friday. Nice. Yeah, we discussed the gold buys, but I wanted to give GJ a shout, but didn't really play out there. But gold buys would have made sense from here. Well, this is what we spoke about. If we create support on the 15-minute above this level, then you can look to push up to here. But I'm not trading gold yet. Otherwise, that would have been a good shout for gold. I'm not sure why you want to have a GJ trade so much. At least leave it. Yeah, I'm not necessarily wanted it so much. That's not what it was. I wanted to give buyers one shout based on the fact that I was, what I was speaking about at the start of the stream, what I was kind of anticipating for myself. Obviously I looked at the daily, and it was the daily that gave me the indication that we could see further upside, right? I know we're in that 4-hour range, but based on the fact that the daily closed above that resistance, told me, okay, well, we could see daily at least start pushing up into these wicks, right? That's what I was looking at. That was my analysis, yeah? So based off of that fact, I was looking for further upside. Now, I knew that we could see, a bit of range based on the 4-hour, right, which is perfectly fine. I knew we could see range on the 4-hour, so that's why my trade wanted to be right from here to here, right? That's where I wanted to be my trade, from here to here. That's it. I didn't expect to see price pushing further up. I didn't expect us to get to 158.00. I wasn't trying to anticipate any further than that. All I wanted to see was the fact that because we had a strong move in the Asian session, you can see the 4-hour candle moved pretty strong, and then because we rejected resistance, we pulled back. I was expecting if we create support that we can at least retest that level there, and then from there still. So yeah, that was it basically. But yeah, now that I can see that we are rejecting resistance pretty hard at this point, yeah, now we are in this range here, right? Now that means that if the daily starts closing bearish, then yeah, now we are really in a difficult spot. Obviously on the 1 hour and the 30-minute time frame, this is where it became our range, and all I wanted to see was a push from this kind of level here above our Asian range to push up into here, because we didn't have the volume to break above at that point. So that was all the idea was, but still, there you go. Loaders learning and asking people to pay £50 not to learn with you. Well, I mean, you can speak to the people that learn with me yourselves. I mean, they're doing pretty well, so they are learning. And what I said was that I'm learning from my own mistakes, right? At the end of the day,
This guy must be new, because I mean, we saw you last year. You were just doing amazing. So
yeah, nah, don't worry about it, man. It's all good. I was up for your channel as I want to see people give value, but I just see you charging them prices for what? What do you get for that price? Look, man, I don't have to justify myself.
on my website.
Yeah, well, you can read the website if you want, exactly. But I mean, they get a lot of stuff. So, but I mean, I give away free live streams every day, so there's no obligation to pay for anything. So, I don't know how you can sit there and say that, to be honest. When if you go look at like 90% of the people that offer any type of education, they won't even talk to you. All these people that are in my group, they didn't have to pay for nothing. If they wanted to get advice, information, if they wanted to get knowledge, all they have to do is ask. If you go through my DMs right now, everybody asks me the same questions or questions that people in the group ask, but I don't charge them for it. Do you know what I mean? I don't charge people to ask questions. They want to pay because they want to trade live. They want to be part of the group. They get all the webinar access. I'm not gonna go into it, but every I don't know. There you go. I'm not gonna entertain that.
Yeah, don't give him what he wants.
No, I mean, like, he's entitled to his opinion. It doesn't really bother me. Opinions don't bother me. I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. Do you know what I mean? So. Right, we're starting to break down over here. But yeah, I'm not touching GJ now. I'm letting it do its thing at this point, because if we're just gonna be stuck in this rat hole, then this is gonna be a tricky one. Because daily's coming down hard now. Actually thinking about it, daily is coming down. I mean, imagine if we start breaking down below 149, 870, then we could see further downside this week. Yeah, weekly's already coming down. It's interesting. It's okay, don't be mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. It's all good, man. Look, people are gonna have opinions about every little thing you do. You know, no matter what you do, there'll be somebody that doesn't agree with it. There'll be somebody that does agree with it. So I'll do what I'm gonna do, right? You know, I don't do. At the end of the day, yeah, you gotta think about this logically, right? You know, I don't do signals. I don't do all this crap that people gain, you know, hundreds of thousands, right, a month from just pure signals, right? You know, you can't, yeah. You know, there's plenty of actual people that don't really want to provide nothing, but that's all. I just don't get how you can be a mentor when you're learning this. Just my opinion. Okay.
You can't be a mentor till you've perfected it.
Well,
which is never the case, ever.
yeah, that's true. Exactly. But it's not like I'm learning. It's not like he's saying it in a way like I'm learning, but what it is from everything that I know, I'm trading and I'm just learning from, like, you learn from mistakes. That's how you get better in trading, right? If I'm not learning from mistakes, then I shouldn't be a mentor. Do you know what I mean? That's the key point, right? That's the contradiction. If I'm not learning from my mistake, right, then I'm not a very good mentor at all. In fact, I shouldn't be one, because then how am I going to teach someone else to look at their trade and say how you could have done better? This is what we were talking about last week when you clicked out of a bad trade. You mean the trade that I closed early but went into profits? I don't know what one you're talking about. You know, every mistake, right? You have to understand, yeah, every mistake is one step closer to getting it right. You know, so people are gonna see that. Then it reversed and hit my stops. Well, then that's your fault, because we said where the target was and it actually did go to the target. So that was, where was that? That was this situation right here, wasn't it? No, it was this one. Yeah, I closed the trade early because I wasn't comfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. That's my decision. But where did I say price was gonna go to? I anticipated price to head to this area here. Did it go to it? Yes. So if you didn't secure here, then that's your fault. I mean, that's where my targets were. If I was gonna hold that trade, I was gonna be all out of the position there. So you can't tell me that you let a trade go a good 13 pips and then it actually ran about 18 pips into profit and then it hit your stop loss. That makes no sense. So that's nothing but your fault. I mean, I never ever said that I would completely hold the trade beyond that point. My trade, right, my analysis was from here to here. That's it. Did it go there? Yes, it did. Did I close out early? Yes, I did. But that's something I got to learn from myself. You know, if you're aiming for more, sorry, I'll let you, one sec.
Yeah.
If you're aiming for more pips, like I just said, I was aiming for more pips, then why didn't you at least secure something there and go break even? That's got nothing to do with me, is it? You know, my analysis was that if we close above here, the target is there. Did we get there? Yes, we did. So my analysis was spot on. Just there was a problem with my execution and my emotion towards the trade. That's my problem. If you held the trade and you didn't secure profits, you let 20 pips in the bag go into drawdown and a losing trade, then that's you that needs to take a look at what you did wrong. That is nothing to do with me.
Exactly. Like the sooner you stop blaming someone else for your losses or problems within trading, like the quicker you're gonna become better. Simple as that.
Yeah, like look, I don't claim to be the best. I've never ever said I'm the best. I never ever said I'm amazing trader. I never ever said that, you know, anything other. I give complete respect to traders who are better than me, right? And everybody knows that there are traders that are better than me. So it's just about, you know, it's that fact. I'm just trying to achieve success in trading. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. We're human. We're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to have emotion towards things. You're allowed to make mistakes. Like that's how you become better, right? You can't get better without making mistakes, because then, you know, you would just be good all round and forever. Like it doesn't work like that. Man, I've made probably more mistakes in trading than I have done in anything else, but that doesn't mean, you know, that you can't be successful. But yeah, in terms of that trade, I mean, it shouldn't really matter. It shouldn't really matter if I close the trade early though, should it? It shouldn't matter at all, because if your analysis was the same, then you stick to yours. Isn't that not true, no? You know, if we did reach here, which was my target, then that was the play. Like there's no other, you know, that's it. Like there's nothing more to say on it. Look at pound yen now though, man. But yeah, I think the best trade for the session, obviously clearly would have been this move here to push down to support, and then that ran a nice 25 pips after that. That makes the most sense. But still, yeah, not a good shout to be. Yeah. Anyway. Are you consistently profitable each month? Well, yeah, I was for the whole of 2020, and then, you know, had a little bit of a setback in December. January went pretty well, and then February a little bit rocky, and then since February I've basically been working on something in the background that I'm trying to achieve with a slightly better approach to how I want to trade. So at the moment, that's why I dropped my lot sizes down, and in my own world I'm trying to get that ball rolling with that type of way that how I want to be the most consistent, right? So anyway, yes, it had nothing to do with it. I'm just saying that the criticism was going to happen then if what happened today happened then. That doesn't really make sense, because today was a losing trade and last week was a break-even trade for me. But the analysis was incorrect today because we didn't get to where I said, but last week the analysis was correct. So you do what you want with the analysis. But yes, but yeah, I mean, what's that going to help you if I'm consistently profitable or not? But for the whole of 2020, I smashed it. You can go and check out the Instagram. You can go and see how well I was doing. So I don't have to prove nothing to no one, you know. I really don't care.
Plus, like, people just think as soon as you start having a few profitable months, you're never going to have like, bad ones again.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, like on the road to success, let's say, you know, do you not think there's gonna be setbacks or problems? You know, like if I was never profitable, which a lot of mentors aren't, right? A lot of mentors aren't ever profitable, yet they sell courses, they sell this, they sell that. Fair enough, whatever. Like, you know, they fair enough. But I was profitable for, you know, a good year and a half. We're allowed to, you know, I can have a stage where I make a few mistakes, whatever. But I've been working my nuts off in the background to get this right. So I don't, you know, I'll be the one when I get it right, laughing. That's all I care about. So yeah. Anyway, there you go. Why do people come on and blame H on anything? Because he says every time he takes a trade, that was his own analysis. You should tolerate. Yeah, look, people know, remember that this is my analysis, and they should follow their own analysis. People know that. They just don't want to take. You know, if you look at society as a whole, people don't ever want to take responsibility for their own mistakes. I take full responsibility for my own mistakes in life and everything else. That's perfectly fine. Anyway, as long as I can sleep at night. Well, I can sleep just fine at night. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't really see what the big problem.
What I find funny is like this guy can do anything he wants at this point, and he's decided to come onto your stream and start chatting shit.
No, it's cool. I'm not really bothered by it. You know, people can make their own mind up about things. You know.
Yeah, if they're not happy with it, they don't have to watch you or
Yeah, he doesn't
pay
have to
for
be.
anything.
Doesn't
So it
have to
doesn't
be
make a
here.
difference to them.
Yeah, exactly. There's no obligation. You know, I think if he wants to really do something for the community, how about go and talk to people that, you know, are selling things, other things. You know, how about they start jumping on that? Because, you know, if he was to actually see the people in the group, he would know that, you know, a lot of people in the group have found success through me. So I'm not going to anyway, let's just move on from this shit. Justin, they just sell the lifestyle. Well, there you go. So I think his energy, he should take that energy and start fighting back against, you know, I think he should start fighting back against the lifestyle traders, because there's hundreds of them. So if he wants to go hunting down mentors or whatever, then bang, there's his job for the day. That's what you can do. Just type in FX trader on Instagram, you're gonna find loads. So that's gonna do you know, while we're here trying to help people progress, you can do that. Cool. Right, people always talk, I love your streams. Well, thank you very much, but still, just my point about last week, you know, you have to take responsibility that if you let a trade go 20 pips into profit and you didn't secure nothing and let it hit your stop loss, that is completely your fault. And I don't mean it in a harsh way, I just mean it in a, just for you to understand. Just for you to understand. Yeah, mate, I'm trader, I'm just watching this as I'm bored. This is no trade range. Okay. Sell. I'm not gonna say to sell it. That's up to you, PJ. But still, you know, I think if you was gonna take sells, then this was your area right here. This was your area to take sells, or over here was higher risk. This is your probably safer, but your range is very limited. That was your position there. So invite me then. Invite you to what?
Agree.
Oh no, because you got to pay for that, remember? And he doesn't think it's worth it, so don't want to waste his money.
plenty of people in the group. They wouldn't just pay for something for no reason.
Of course. I mean, I would have got complaints by now, right? If they didn't think that it was worth it for what they were paying for.
Yeah, I reckon I need to be careful on Mondays though, because I've just looked at obviously my wins and losses, and my Mondays are clearly my worst day.
Yeah. No, I think today was just like a bit unfortunate, but I think like we should have. Yeah, I mean, there's no point saying should have. Done now. I had to take time over the last couple of months to develop my own style and eliminate my time on the chart. Just been break even, no issues. That's it, man. You gotta do what you gotta do to get it right. Anyway, I think we're gonna call it a day here soon. At this point, very very soon. Oh, did he delete all his messages?
No, I just timed them out.
Oh, don't worry about it, man. I don't care. Oh, it could be worse. You could have someone coming in just
True.
talking proper crap.
I just haven't used that power yet to be.
Yeah, you just wanted
moderator.
to use it. Yeah, you wanted to use it.
My chance.
But yeah, no, like I was saying, is like I think basically, I think like it wasn't a bad shout, like it wasn't an awful shout, but had we have maybe said, all right, cool, because we rejected this area, right? Maybe it would have made more sense to like, you know, call this kind of range here no trade, and then we could have caught sells with the resistance below that to push down to here. Would have made the most sense. What caused this major boom? I don't know. I think it just hit a level and yeah, it just did its, you know, did its thing there. But yeah, like looking back, that kind of makes the most sense to me now. So that's how I see it. So if we had support and then resistance, because we basically couldn't break up, like we was in a range, you know, then it made sense to actually wait for maybe like this right here would have been the winning trade right there to push down to here. Yeah, I think that's how we'll have to conclude it. Again, you know, that's how you learn. Yeah, do you know what? That makes the most sense to me, because we rejected here, right? We wait for support because we, you know, we thought, okay, we're gonna retest this. It didn't happen. That's your range, and then once we broke below here, it was either basically, you know, sells from there to there, range was limited, or wait for resistance, which obviously would have given us that move there, and then obviously we can push down further and, you know, then look at the second target here. But to be honest, I would have like the where we are in the higher time frames based on the 4 hour etc. Then I suppose it would have just made sense maybe to leave it alone.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, like we pretty much broke below Asian highs and then created a resistance below it to retest Asian lows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this kind of area made the most sense. Yeah, exactly. I mean, once we basically broke this support and then created resistance, it was a solid play down to here. But yeah, this is the thing. I think, yeah, do you know what? I think I learned quite something good about today's situation. I think because what I think I failed to pay attention to was, like, if we go back to last week, and let's look at the situation where we had last week. Yeah, do you remember where we missed the setup because of the candle closed a bit dodgy. Where was it? Where was it?
15-minute one, was it?
Here, yeah. So I think the reason why this was slightly different was because you see how like this was resistance over here, and then we made a higher level of resistance. So it was like this was resistance to form support to, you know, continue moving bullish to like retest. Whereas in today's example, we basically were in a range. And I think that's what. So like with today's example, if we look left, we can say, okay, we basically couldn't break higher. So although, yeah, like there was, like if you think about it, it's probably more like a 60% chance we'd head back up if we created support, rather than our more higher percentage if, let's say, we made a high above here and then pulled back to form support. Then I would argue, then yeah, that's your play. So I personally think, like, you know, it was, again, like I was saying, right, when that guy was, you know, saying what he was saying, right, with every mistake is one step closer. So what have I learned from today? Well, I've learned from today that, okay, not only was the setup a good, it was a good shout, but it was very limited because we failed to break higher. This was your 4-hour resistance. So clearly, if we failed to break higher, even though we created support, actually what we were doing was creating a range. That's the key difference here. We created a range rather than we created a high to create support to retest, which is what I was thinking because of this bullish uptrend. That was the difference. What I focused on too much and emphasized too much was the idea of, okay, we basically had this bullish uptrend from the Asian session, and I thought, okay, well, Asians made a high right now. If we retrace form support, we can retest that and maybe continue. Where just that little bit of, you know, oh, okay, hang on a minute, right? We got 4-hour resistance right here. We rejected that area. We're now creating support. We're now creating our range. So then what that would have said to me was, okay, we wait for like sells below here or buys above here, right? And then that would have given us the opportunity then to look for these sells here to push down to here. And then that would have been our trade for the session. So again, just, you know, just a small change can really make a big difference.
Yeah, I'm still learning a lot with GJ. Like, I've not even been looking at it for too long. Big scale of things.
Yeah.
Especially in London. It's just a shame I've come on to where it's got a bit harder. Hasn't moved as nicely.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, right? You know, it's not the best situation to be in to start the week, but I mean, it's only Monday, right? And you got to think about it like, you know, if we traded the way slightly how we used to trade, it would be like just giving the buyers 2 chances on a Monday and it didn't play out. We come back tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even worried about it. Because even the sells, right, you had support in the mid-range at the 4-hour level around 170. So if we look at that as a level, that is right here. So right here we had 4-hour support. So now does that even make sense to sell it within here? Very, very tough to do so. So yeah, for it, yeah, just is what it is. Okay, so anyway, guys, we're gonna call it a day here today. So we had the one trade, we took GJ buys, it didn't really work out. I would, you know, again, we've just discussed why the buy didn't work out. You know, what I should have paid attention to is the idea that, okay, we basically failed to break previous high point. We came back, we created support. Yes, there's a chance that we could, you know, push back up into that range. But then what actually probably would have made more sense would be to say, okay, well, how about we wait for either a break above, or we wait for a break below here, which, you know, here wouldn't have been a good shout because the range is very limited. Once we pull back to create resistance, that probably would have been a much better shout to fill that wick and then continue down. So I think that was definitely the trade for the session, but still, it is what it is. Okay, cool. Alright guys, we're gonna finish off there. Thanks very much for coming on. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6:30 AM, nice and bright and early. So cool. Thanks guys, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Gold's still moving up as well. But yeah, we did discuss the gold buys though, so hopefully somebody caught a good shout with the gold buys to push up to 1782. Gave you a nice 24, 25 pip squeeze. 37 for the wick fill as well. Right, cool. Thanks everyone. Take care. We'll see you later.